Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alrighty, what is up, my artists? Now it is time for my top 10 best movies of the year list. I did last week the worst, so this week is the best. Now, couple things about this list. Same rules as last time. The deadline was the 11th, so anything that comes out after the 11th of December can be contested for next year's list. So that is a thing. Along with this list does have honorable mentions, a lot of honorable mentions. This list has been a lot more positive. This year's been a lot more positive than last year, which has surprised me gladly in a good way. But this will be the top 10 films that I think personally are the best this year. Some of you might not agree. Some of you might. Doesn't matter. It's my list. I don't give a fuck. Nonetheless, let's get to number 10.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 10 is Jordan Peele's Nope. I did really enjoy this movie. I saw it when it came out in theaters this year. I tried to watch a couple movies this year in theaters, try to get my take on it. This is the first Jordan Peele movie, or actually no, it's the second Jordan Peele movie I've watched in theaters. The first one being Candyman. This one is another movie that is just a different type of horror. It's kind of like a sci-fi horror type movie. This movie was really, really good. It wasn't as good as Us or Get Out. Get Out is probably his best, and probably will still be his best for a long time to come. Hopefully, though, in his like more of his movies, he could top that, which he almost did with this one, which is very commendable. Nonetheless, Nope was a really good movie. It was an alien sci-fi horror movie, and it had really great atmosphere. I will say the only reason that I didn't like it as much as Us and Nope, it was a little bit too long. It could have been cut down. Some of the scenes could have been cut down, and it could have been a lot shorter, but nonetheless, it's fine. I will say the acting is great. The actors and actresses were great that they had in this movie, and I really enjoyed it. I look forward to more Jordan Peele projects in the future, so I do really like this movie, and I'm excited to see what else Jordan Peele can come up with. But without further ado, let's get to number 9 on this list.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 9. Amazon Prime's I Want You Back, starring Charlie Day. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm not really the romantic comedy type, which is not surprising because I am a hopeless romantic, but nonetheless, this movie was really, really good and really heartfelt. I enjoyed watching it, and it was just an overall enjoyable movie. I love Charlie Day's acting. It's definitely different from his acting in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. For him to be in a movie like this, where it's just like calm and he's not being so extra with his comedy, which is great, and it's a great way to diversify your comedy and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that he did this movie along with Prime greenlighting it, and because it was getting tossed around everywhere for a bit, and Prime finally greenlit it, and Prime greenlits a lot of things that are really good recently. The Boys, Invincible, this was really good. Just more examples with Prime. But nonetheless, this is really a really good fresh take on the romantic comedy genre, and it was really good. I recommend it completely. That being said, let's get to number 8.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 8, we have Uncharted, based on the PlayStation exclusive game, starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. And this movie was really surprising. Usually video game movies aren't the greatest. They're really not the greatest, honestly. But this movie was really good. I enjoyed the dynamic between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. I enjoyed the dynamic between like the other cast members along with the main characters. I really enjoyed the way that they made this an adaptation, how they did it, and how they made it an adaptation to the actual game and made it faithful. And I really enjoyed the comedy and the scope of the story. It was really, really intriguing how they actually made this into a faithful adaptation to Uncharted. I myself have only played the first Uncharted, and I will say this definitely takes the first movie and does it faithfully. This movie was really good. I hope to see more Uncharted films in the future. They did tease a sequel. Will that happen? Who knows? Because Hollywood's all fucked right now with Warner Bros. And this isn't Warner Bros. Obviously, but still, like, it could be fucked in any way. But nonetheless, this is a good movie, and let's get to number 7.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 7, Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Now this is a funny one, because this is straight to Roku, which is it's actually a new thing for me. This is the first ever Roku original movie that I've seen. I've seen Roku originals when it comes to shows, but Roku original movies is different. So this was a biopic, in quotations, about Weird Al Yankovic. It's very, very sensationalized with some of the stuff they put in here, because it's obviously not exactly what Weird Al Yankovic's life was like before fame and everything like that. But it's a great goofy comedy biopic with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic, and it's really enjoyable. It's all over the place, but in a good way. Normally, if it's all over the place, it's really hard to understand, but this is all over the place in a really, really good way. It takes twists and turns you wouldn't expect. It's really enjoyable. The only part that like makes it to where, I guess the only con, I should say, is that since you're watching it on Roku, you have ads regardless. So there's ads during the movie, you have ad breaks, and that kind of takes some of the momentum out of it. That's why it's only 7 on this list, or it would have been higher. But this movie is really good, and it's a really good way, definitely satirizing the biopics of now, because there's all these serious biopics out there, like, that have came out and have just been completely false of what has happened and fabricating the truth, basically. And I don't know, I really don't like when shit like that happens. And the fact that this movie satirizes it and makes it fun in that way really makes me enjoy this movie and really makes me want to watch it again, which I might do, which is not something I usually do, but this is a really good movie. Roku, kudos to you for greenlighting this. Weird Al, kudos to you, and Daniel Radcliffe did a great fucking job as Weird Al. Without further ado, let's get to number 6.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Number 6, we have Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, the return of Mike Judge's classic in a movie format. exclusively to Paramount Plus. Now, Paramount Plus has been iffy for me. I bought Paramount Plus when it came out, pretty much for the iCarly TV show, and I haven't really used it much since. There's been a couple exclusives on there that I've watched. I think I watched Infinite. That was one movie I watched last year. But besides that, there has been much on Paramount Plus that's intrigued me. I know there's supposed to be some South Park specials, but those, very iffy when it comes to South Park anymore. But Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe is very interesting to me because I didn't even know it was happening until it came out. So when I saw that it was like released and everything, I immediately watched it. I've been a fan of the Beavis and Butthead stuff for a good bit now. It's a very, I guess, it's not everybody's cup of tea, obviously. It was very censored back in the day. It's really hard to even find the original show, which Paramount Plus is actually rectifying, and they're bringing back the original show on Paramount Plus gradually because of all the legal issues with what was going on at the time. But this show, I mean, the show was good, and that this was a great way to bring back Beavis and Butthead in a modern type of era that we are in now, with phones and everything like that they didn't have really back in the 90s. So this is a really good movie. I enjoyed it. Very good comeback for Beavis and Butthead. I look forward to seeing anything else that Mike Judge does more with Beavis and Butthead, or even if they wanted to bring back King of the Hill and do something like that, that'd be fine too. Nonetheless, let's get to number 5.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 5, we have Netflix's only entry, in a surprising way, because I'm not really a Netflix guy, obviously, but Day Shift from Netflix, starring Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg. It was a really surprising movie to me. I randomly watched it on a whim. It stars Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg being vampire hunters, and that was interesting to me. Very interesting concept, especially with the actors. But it was really good tone-wise, comedy-wise, it was really good. I will say they could have did better with some of the side actors and actresses, because their acting wasn't the greatest. But Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg really carried this movie and really did a really good buddy cop type of vampire hunter movie, which I really enjoyed. And I would like to see more from Netflix, because Netflix is always doing something stupid. Every year, there's always something stupid that Netflix does. Dahmer. But, you know, it's just, it's really nice sometimes to see when Netflix actually does something good in a good movie or a good show. And I would look forward to looking at Netflix more if they had more stuff like this, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie. Just keep it short and sweet, and we'll get to number 4.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 4, we have Terrifier 2, a limited release. I live in Missouri, so I had to go all the way to Arkansas to see it. It was a fun little road trip, but it was a decent horror movie this year, especially compared to the sequels that we've seen this year with horror movies. Halloween Ends. But this movie was a nice, fresh take on the slasher genre. Terrifier was also decent, but this one was a lot better with the gore. The budget for this was, I think, only $250 million, and it made like $11 million in the box office, which is really impressive. Definitely got their money back and money's worth. It was exclusive to Screambox after being in theaters, so that definitely helped as well. A deal there, and it was really good. I really enjoyed this movie, and I'm pretty sure they're making the Terrifier 3, which we'll see if that gets a wider release in theaters, hopefully, because I really don't want to go all the way to Arkansas to see Terrifier 3, but I'm really excited to see what is happening next in the Terrifier universe. So yeah, that's Terrifier. It was a really good movie, and I definitely suggest it.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 3, we have R.I.P.D. 2, Rise of the Damned, the sequel that nobody asked for, but what did pretty good, I would say, for a direct-to-DVD release. I would say it was really good. Definitely one of those movies that I didn't expect to be watching this year. I didn't expect to come out this year. It was a prequel to the first R.I.P.D. movie, and it definitely did well with telling the story of one of the cops that was in the first R.I.P.D. movie. So it did well there, and it definitely did well as a sequel to a Ryan Reynolds movie without Ryan Reynolds. That definitely helped, because I don't think we'll ever get another sequel to R.I.P.D., but I could live with having the first movie and a prequel to the first movie. I could live with that. It was a great sequel, and sequels seem to be doing great this year. Even though this was direct to DVD, it was still great quality, had great actors and actresses, great, just great film. It's just a great film. And I really think they should make more R.I.P.D. films, but obviously I'm not Sony. I can't say to make more R.I.P.D. films because that's not my choice. And obviously it didn't do the greatest because it was direct to DVD, so I can't. I obviously don't know what it comes down to it when it comes to Hollywood, so I can't say or not to make an R.I.P.D. 3, but nonetheless, great movie. On to number 2.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, number 2, we have Violent Night. This one just made it to the list, coming out on December 2nd, starring Hopper from Stranger Things. David Harbour, sorry, I for some reason blinked for a second there, but David Harbour plays Santa Claus in this, in like a type of I would say Die Hard type. It's like Die Hard, but actually a Christmas movie, I guess, because Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Fun fact, it's not, but people think it is. Nonetheless, this is a really good great action-packed comedy for Christmas. It was like one of the only Christmas movies that came out this year, which is surprising because usually we get a lot around this time of year, but this is really the only one that came out, and it's definitely a big one and definitely has went mainstream. I really enjoyed this movie. This is the first movie I gave 5 stars this year, and it was the only movie that I gave 5 stars this year. Of course, that could change in the period of time that I'm recording this, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed the acting, the cinematography, the comedy, the action. It really was a really good movie, and I enjoyed it. And that's really all I have to say about it. Just see Violent Night. It's a great movie. When it comes to kids seeing it, though, it could get very violent, so it is rated R, so there's that. But on to our honorable mentions.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, so our honorable mentions. Obviously, we didn't have any dishonorable mentions in the worst list because it was different. There wasn't as many bad movies last year, or this year, I should say, which was very shocking because usually there's a ton of bad movies every year. Of course, I haven't seen every movie this year, so there could have been some stinkers and that I hadn't seen, and there could be some good movies that I haven't seen this year, which is always why I watch a lot of movies every year. I've watched over 80 this year, and it's really hard to determine what could be on these lists. So that's why I have an honorable mentions or a dishonorable mentions list of things that I have seen and what almost made the list but couldn't make the list, of course. So I'm going to list off some names here and tell you why I didn't put them on the list and what they could have done to be put on the list. X, great horror movie, but it could have been a lot better with story-wise. Had some gross out, which I'm not the biggest fan of, and definitely could have explained itself better. Pearl, the prequel to X, definitely made me enjoy X more, but it was a lot better than X, and I'm looking forward to Maxine. The only thing is, I wish they would have explained some more things. They explained enough, definitely, but it was really good, and I really liked Mia Goth's acting. So, honorable mentions. The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, or holiday special, I should say, exclusive to Disney Plus. Great special, but it wasn't a full movie, so I guess it kind of was disqualified from the list, but I will put it on the honorable mentions list because it definitely deserves it. Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, great. Black Adam, another movie that I saw this year. It definitely could have been better, but it was still an enjoyable watch. It's more of like a mindless superhero movie to watch. I wouldn't say it fits into the DCEU. That's now been tarnished, and I don't even want to talk about what's going on right now. But it seems like it's going to be the only Black Adam movie, so I'll enjoy it for what it is. So, honorable mentions. Hellraiser 2022, a very surprising one, but it wasn't surprising enough to be put on the top 10 best movies of 2022 list. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. There was just a couple things that I didn't like. If you want more on why I liked it, it's in my review. I have a review on it on my channel. But nonetheless, it was good, but it wasn't good enough. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This is a great way to put Nicolas Cage back on the big screen. He's been in a lot of direct-to-DVD movies lately. A movie that I enjoyed from him last year was Willy's Wonderland. He's been really great in the horror genre, but putting him back in the action-adventure genre with this amount of money and budget definitely helped him shine in a good, movie that's in theaters, now. Great movie, just couldn't get onto the list. The Menu, a recent movie that I watched, it almost made the list. It was really close. It was a tie between that and Nope, but I don't put ties on my list, so one had to go, and I just agreed that Nope probably was the better one to put on number 10. But The Menu was on the list at one point. It just, I guess, natural selection, I guess. So that is why it is not on the list, but it is on the honorable mentions list. Super cool, fun, goofy comedy. Great, teen comedy. A great way to start off the year. This came out in February. Starred Jake Short. Decent movie, but it won't be put on the list. Scream 5. This is the first movie I watched this year, and it was great. It was a great way to introduce Scream to a different audience and make it to where it could have another franchise. Now, let's hope it doesn't do what Halloween did, because then it will end up on the worst list next year, or whatever year that it comes out. I know the sequel comes out in 2023 in March, I believe. So I think it's March 10th. So we will see if it holds up to the standards of of Scream 5. So yeah, that's why it's on the honorable mentions list. And Top Gun Maverick, I enjoyed, but I wasn't really that inclined to put it on the list, mainly because I feel like it's been a little overhyped as of recent. It was in theaters for months, from May, I think, all the way until October, and then they're putting in theaters for 2 weeks in December again, and I just don't understand why, but it's one of the highest grossing movies of this year, and I gotta give it that. That's why it's on the honorable mentions list. I can't put it on the worst list because it wasn't bad, so I'll give it an honorable mention. Well, that is my honorable mentions, and we will get to the number 1 spot right now.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, and finally, number 1, Clerks 3. Now, I really enjoyed the Clerks movies, and I really enjoy Kevin Smith as a director. Say what you want about him, some of his movies aren't the greatest, but this one was very heartfelt and emotional, and I could say that because I don't really get too emotional, but watching this movie, I actually got a little bit emotional at the ending. I won't say why. All I'll just say is just watch it, because it's a really good story about loss and how to take it and all that, pretty much. And it's really inspiring and empowering in a way of how it just treats itself. It actually treats itself like someone on their deathbed, and they're trying to do one last big thing in their life, and this definitely feels like that, and definitely makes you want to see more of Kevin Smith in this type of directing, which hopefully he could do more directing like this in the future. I know he's more of a comedy guy, and I enjoy his comedy stuff, but this film blown me away when I watched it, and I really, really recommend it. It's a really good movie. It's a great watch, but an emotional watch. And with that being said, that was my list. Alright, well, that was my list, and we'll be seeing, hopefully, in the next year, there'll be even more great movies to come out, and even more that I could put on the honorable mentions list, and even more that maybe I can even make this a top 20 next year, depending on how it gets and how good the year is for movies. But this is a great year for movies, and I really am glad, because there's been a couple of years that haven't been too great, and it's made me sad, sadly. But this year has been really good for movies, and I guess just life in general. I've been really positive this year. So, I really look forward to next year. Hopefully, it's a good year. And without further ado, thank you guys for watching. Peace.